everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday show. I'm Hammer, and I'm joined by my two favorite Wednesday show hosts, Terry DeMantis.
Hello.
And Jen T. Maxey.
Hello.
How you doing, Terry?
I'm all right. How are you?
I am well. How you doing, Jen?
I'm good. I don't want anyone to think I was really mad about the last conversation. It's just, it's mixed feelings when you're an art kid. It is, because you don't want to, I don't want to discourage anyone from doing art. You know, even if you're not good at it, you should still do things that you enjoy. You know,
people on YouTube have no idea what you're talking about. We were talking about the pre-show on Rumble. We were having a very lively discussion about AI and how it affects the industries and AI in general, what qualifies and doesn't qualify as AI. If you weren't here to catch the Rumble stream, that's your own fault. We do tell you to come out and listen, because that's where all the good stuff happens anyway. I considered the discussion lively. I didn't expect anyone was going to get upset. I know you guys pretty well.
No, of course not. No,
I know you guys pretty well. I wasn't worried at all. So
it really
it takes a lot more than that to make me actually upset at someone.
Your voice did go up an octave, though.
Well, like there's some sides to what Terry is saying. Like he's a little bit more specific on his view on it, and I understand that too. But my view of it really does come from the art scene, and yet again, part of it is the frustration, you know, because part of the reason I didn't grow up to be an artist was because you starve as an artist, you know, and so the idea that people can just take art from people when all you really want to do when you're an artist is actually make a living doing it, that's where my feelings get a little bit like, But if they set up sites properly where you could actually make a deal with artists so it's fair for both parties, I actually am on board with that, because there's actually a hell of a lot of really talented people out there who would love to see you guys get good art.
Yeah.
No, my stance is if you're an artist at risk of being replaced by AI, you deserve to be replaced by AI. Like you'll notice it's not the good artists that are worried.
No.
I think we're all a little worried about AI that more than we should be anyway, because you're coming at it from the point of an artist, but I'm coming at it from the point of a computer guy. And this is kind of, careful, it's going to be the year 2000, everything's going to break.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
That didn't really happen, and AI is really not in a place to do it. AI is great mathematics. It's a great expression of how mathematics works, but there's no sentience here.
As far as I can tell, AI is a fancy search engine for the most part.
I actually do think most of my battle is with the search engines themselves. And this is one of those big ones that will probably have to be going after places like Google, who we all know is unethical. They are.
I will say, I do think Jen has a point in the art theft may be unethical. I'm not going to disagree with that.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
But the idea that AI is a threat to artists, it's not.
It's not. If you can't compete to that, then no, Terry's not wrong. Because I've seen far too many pictures where you're like, I can count toes. Why can't you, computer?
Yeah. I would love to know why AI has so many problems with fingers and toes. I don't know why it can't do them.
Well, there's so many things that, like, even as an artist, like that's why I hesitate, because there's times where, like, even I can see a benefit to AI, because there's some stuff that I don't really enjoy drawing. Not that I can't do it, I just don't enjoy it. Like I'm not as big a fan of doing background scenes, because unless you're drawing something really amazing, they get kind of boring after a while, you know? So like even comics have people who just are designated to backgrounds. They're good at it and they can do it in 5 seconds. You know, not everyone likes doing that. I can understand using AI from that, because, well, you can source that from any picture. You don't need a drawing for that. You could go to like any magazine and have like a million sources of an apartment building and get an apartment. You know, so that one I'm not worried about, but I will get a little bit iffy if I think something looks like it was done by somebody and somebody stole it.
Well, yeah, but I think art theft is a separate issue to AI in general.
Well, there's also the inspirational thing. It's kind of like a fair use kind of deal. I understand what Adobe's doing. That's illegally wrong. So I get that. But if you take your image and you post it on the internet and someone says, I like the way she looks, but I want her to be blonde. And they take your picture and they draw their own picture, which isn't exactly like yours. It's a little different, maybe more different, maybe less different, whatever. But the person is blonde. They've made a fundamental change to the original. That's quote unquote fair. That's how fair use works.
Right.
And really, if you look at AI kind of does the same thing. It takes, a couple of hundred different artists who have representative of what a girl should look like, and it extracts the basics from that and builds an image that doesn't exist anywhere else. So
Like,
would that be considered inspiration? Because it's not
Yeah.
copyright. It didn't take your picture and reproduce it in its entirety. It used it kind of like inspiration to create its
No,
own.
I agree. That's why I have no problem with it. But like, you can take an example where art theft is removed from the equation, and there is a cosplay model who goes by the name Susu. She has
I
her
know,
own.
Susu.
Yes, she has her own AI porn bot. All of the images that the AI was trained on were provided by Susu herself. Zero theft involved.
Anybody out there know Susu besides me and Terry?
I don't, but like I would be okay with that because that's her.
That's my point. That's my point, is that the AI issue is separate to the art theft issue.
I think it's going to be I think it's going to be a hit and miss, Terry, because I think it's going to be down to how people are using it. It's always like that with a new tool. You know, like some people use a knife to cook and some people use a knife because they're crazy and they stab people.
Now, that's very Islamophobic of you,
I know,
Jim.
right?
Wait a minute. How do we get to
I wasn't meaning to go there, but but it is like that. Like I do worry a little bit about the bad outliers because what I've been doing is although I don't know if my art's ever going to be that good, I've just been.
I like your art. I've seen your art.
I've just been hiding my initials somewhere that's a pain in the dick. That's what I do. I put it somewhere in the picture where if anyone were to take it out, it's an asshole to do.
Yeah, no, I've seen a lot of, shall we say, models on Twitter where they will put their watermark over their tits, so that like that's where everyone's going to be looking. That's where everyone's going to be looking, and that's where it's going to be most noticeable if you like mess with the image to try and remove the watermark. So
actually, AI has gotten very good at removing watermarks to the point where you can't tell there are ever watermarks there. And believe me, the tool that I use to remove audio singing from some of these songs that we have every month, they're so good that you think that it was recorded as an instrumental, and it wasn't. There's a computer. The program I use, UVR5, that's built on AI. So it knows how to pull people's vocals out of a song in a way that you never even know there were vocals in the song. That's pretty good. And there's programs out there that will pull out the watermark, and you'll never know that there was ever a watermark on it.
And see, I don't mind that as a challenge. See, this is the thing with art and humans and
it's different
challenges.
with art. It's different with art than with watermarks, because art, you draw a line that is important to the image, but it's also your initial.
Yep.
So it can't be removed because it ruins the image.
Yep.
And if it's there, we all know whose initial it is. So in that case, AI can't fix that. But something as simple as a watermark with, the name of a band or the company that owns the image, or this is by Getty Images. Well, we can remove that really easy. You know, so I mean, it really depends on what you're trying to do. But
yeah, that's why I started doing that. I was like, I said, I don't mind if somebody wants to ask me for inspiration. That's fine. I'm not that guy.
yeah.
I would be, if I was somebody who had a proper profile and somebody was just sourcing it. Once I saw that from Adobe, I did actually blame that more on them than necessarily people pulling, because people pulling are innocent in what they're doing. I've done it before. Made a ferret for Kefki on thinking about it, and then was like, this really did probably take from like a bunch of artists. And fair enough. If they're okay with that. But if they weren't, then, that might have been them trying to get a job making cartoons or something,
Yeah.
And that makes me feel bad.
first art I saw that you did was art that you've done of Kefki, of a ferret.
Yeah,
I
I
was
do a
like,
lot of
that is
ferrets for
so
her.
good. Did you do the flower, or is that a picture, or what is that?
I did. I like to do involved pictures. I kind of. I think a lot of people lose a lot of what makes Waldo pictures really great. It's not looking for Waldo. It's realizing there's like 10 stories going on in the picture. And I like to do that kind of stuff in my own art. So with her, I had the ferret of her in the bin. I actually have probably about 8 ferret pictures on the go.
Didn't Kefki do your foot, Terry? The bloody foot?
She did. She did.
And she also did my man with no face, which was just a digital picture that she manipulated.
Yeah. No, Kefki is very talented. She's a very good artist.
Yeah, up to date, my best one so far is still the polydub, and I'm just like, it's still funny to me. So if you go into the minions on yeah, that's funny.
It's never miss an opportunity.
But in the art section on the minions of the zoo, I posted a picture of an otter that I drew. And the thing that makes it funny is I was sourcing historical outfits to draw, and I might have based his outfit off of Benedict's unintentionally. When I was making a pun about the eggs, because I think he actually likes the eggs. So nope, fair enough. They're good eggs. Egg Benedict's a good dish. I know he was technically a traitor.
I'll have to look after this show. I don't usually go in the art section I usually don't fire up Discord at all, but I don't want to fire up Discord while we're live because I don't know what it would do to my audio. Probably nothing, but I don't want to take the chance. But after the show, I'll go out to the art section and take a look.
Plus, Discord sucks anyway.
For the record, Ollie does know about the outfit. Like, I confessed. I was like, listen, I needed a period piece because I wanted him to look like a general. His was just easier to draw.
I use Discord for things that I can't use Twitter for, which is getting the link to the corner and talking to Tier. That's it. They're pretty much the only 2 things. And Adam's stream as well is on Discord.
Yeah.
I think I would be less disappointed with Discord if it had a better audio quality. It only gives you 64 by default unless you boost the server. Then you get 128, which is still less than StreamYard's, but you can put more people on. And really, if I want to communicate with the minions, like all the other show hosts and stuff like that, Discord is a place to go. If anything happens, somebody wants to, be involved with the minions, or somebody wants something, Discord's the place to go. That's where our main communication hub is. So
there are legitimate uses for Discord. Like, I understand why Frosted puts the StreamYard link to the corner in the corner Discord channel rather than DMing everyone individually. It makes sense.
Well, as far as Twitter is concerned, he could put you in a list, in a group, and DM, and everyone would get it with one shot. So it would be just as easy. But
yeah, but he's like it makes sense. Like, the Discord is already set up. I mean, only the 3 of us, well, 4 of us, if you count Frosted himself, have access to that part of the Discord. So he can just drop the link there. He knows that no one's going to see it who shouldn't see it.
Does he broadcast? It makes sense. Does he broadcast from StreamYard?
No, he does the OBS thing.
So why would the link change? My link doesn't change.
It doesn't, but he knows that most people aren't going to remember the link from last week, so he just drops it again every time.
I used to drop the link to you guys before every show, but I figure by now you probably have it bookmarked or something like that. So I stopped doing it, and nobody said anything to me. I was like, okay, I guess they don't need it.
Yeah, no, I mean, once I realized it was the same link every time, I did make a bookmark for it. But if you had continued dropping the link every week, I wouldn't have bookmarked it because I wouldn't have needed to.
Right. Well, just for people who are listening, if you're on the show, the link you get to be on the show with us hasn't changed in like 2 years. I've been using the same StreamYard's link for that long because we never actually go live with StreamYards. So the link never gets expired because it's never
Yeah.
actually used. If you look at the top right corner of my screen where StreamYard is, it's the go live button's ready to go. We don't use it. The only reason I'm using StreamYards is because it's got the best audio quality.
And Jack in chat says that he would talk to me on Discord, but I insist on Twitter. I mean, you can message me on Discord. It's just that if you actually want me to reply to you, Twitter is going to be a much better avenue for that. Like, the only reason it works with me and Tier is I know exactly what time he's going to be messaging me because we have a set time that we play our games. So it's like, okay, it's 1 o'clock my time. I will check Discord because I know Tier's about to message me.
Well, I really don't like Discord. So what I've done is when I get up in the morning and I turn my computer on, I fire up Discord to see if there's been any messages overnight. And then I shut it off.
Yeah.
And then when I have lunch, I go back and look again. And then before I go to bed, I look again. So I'm not on it all day long, but I do check it often enough that something happens during the day, I'll probably catch it.
And Gunsky says, so we're saying that theoretically he could crash the show. I mean, we just wouldn't let him in from backstage.
Yeah,
but I mean,
if this was Google Hangouts or something like that, where you would automatically be added to the stream, yeah, that would be a problem. But people can join in the thing and just sit there and listen to us on StreamYard if they want to. I can't imagine that would be any kind of fun at all. But if you wanted to do it, you've been on this. Anytime that you and I have talked, Jack, you've been given the same link every time because I use this link for StreamYard for everything. So if I have to talk to a monkey or something like that, he knows the link because we've been using it for so long. So I don't have to say, catch me on this Discord or in this room or any of that. He just, that's the link. Boom. He's here. Done. Same thing for you. I give it to you. Everybody's got the same. So if you wanted to join the show and sit in the back room, okay.
I mean, you could.
Do people in the back room actually hear what people who are oh, they do? So you could hear, you wouldn't be able to talk, but
so it would be exactly the same as watching the stream on YouTube.
Except the stream looks prettier than sitting in the back room on. You would get what would happen, at least for YouTube, is you would get the information 12 seconds earlier than everybody else.
No, but no, there is one additional benefit. They can type in the private chat on StreamYard if they're in the back room. So they would, like, if we put something in the side chat, they would be able to see it if they were in the back room.
Oh yeah, they'd be able to see anything that we did in StreamYards. That's true.
Yeah. So if Jack crashed, he could see, well, he probably couldn't see the link because you posted it before he joined. But if you reposted it, he would then see the sex.com link that you showed, that you linked to us, but didn't show Rumble. Because
the great thing is there's a back room. That's the best thing, is because it keeps people from they can join and sit in the back room, but they can't really interfere with the stream.
Yeah, unless you decide to add them.
Yeah. Which I wouldn't do unless the show was set up for 4 people. Now I do have still have the screens to do 4 people. So if somebody wanted to join, like say Tailed stopped by, wanted to come on the show, I could switch everything over to 4-person, add them to StreamYards, and we could go from there. It's something I couldn't do before, but a little bit of extra work, and I can do that now. So I don't have anything for 5 people though, so I'd be screwed.
And 5 people is too many. I'm just saying.
Yes. Well, technically 4 people is kind of awkward.
4 people is about my limit.
Yeah, it's a little clumsy, but you can get through it. But I prefer the 3 of us.
Same.
The holy trinity.
Unless there's something like on the corner where there's 5, but the main thing is Frosted reading an article, so there's not a lot of crosstalk because the focus is on the article. Something like that is okay, but 5 people just talking to each other, no, that's chaos.
Yeah, it's too much. It's too much. Different kind of show where he's doing most of the talking. He does like 90% of the talking in the show, and really, I try to do as least amount of talking as I can. So, doesn't always work.
No, I mean, I think you should not aim to be the least possible. You should just be an active participant in the conversation without taking over the conversation. Same as in any other stream that we would do.
Yeah. Seeing as how we're 21 minutes and 37 seconds into the show, do you think we should say hi to chat?
Let's do that.
Jen, you want to do that? Go first.
Alrighty, so let me scroll up to the top and actually refresh disc the YouTube, because YouTube is a bitch. Love you guys, but you're a bitch. and actually get the live chat, because I don't know why they just don't give me live chat right away. Because I'm not a wuss. I don't care about what people say, unless it threats. Hi, Hammer. How you doing? Hi, Keevan. How you doing? Hi, Terry. How you doing?
Yeah.
Hi, Rotten. How you doing? Hi, Mike R. How's it going? And we got ourselves Tier. Hello, Tier. And we got Jack and JP. Hello. And Spud Gun. Hi, Spud Gun. I'm so glad I showed you the London Bridge. I had to change that back, though, because I forgot to.
Okay. Terry?
Mine is a lot easier because it's Corsten, JB, Jack Gunsky, and Cannibalistic Wizard. So hello to all 4 of you.
Good. Well, people usually roll in about 15 minutes anyway. Other shows are ending at the same time that we're starting, so it takes people time to get something to eat and get back.
And Tia says, hey, I love my organized chaos. That is my live streams. Remove the word organized and you're closer to the truth.
Let me go over the topics tonight that we probably aren't.
Oh, I suppose we should do that 20 minutes into the stream.
3 topics. One of them is actually not like a news topic. It's just something that's annoyed me on Twitter, which I think I'm probably going to do more of in the show, because there is so much stuff that comes through on Twitter that annoys me that I think would make good topics for us to talk about, because I'm sure it probably annoys a lot of people. The whole race going on right now with Kamala and Trump and all that kind of stuff. There's been a kind of a development. Trump has kind of backed off the absolute pro-life stance that he has as far as how he's going to govern. He still is a pro-life person, but he realizes that if he wants to win in November, he will have to compromise to some extent on the hardline perspective, I guess is probably the best way to say it, of the Christian conservatives in the party. It's really, every party has its problem, and the right has the problem with, we have Republicans, conservative Republicans, and then a separate group are the Christian conservatives. Now, I am a Christian. I flutter somewhere between Orthodox and Catholic. I'm not really happy with the Pope right now, so that's the deal there. For people who don't know, Catholic people listen to the Pope. Orthodox people don't really. Kind of. In any case, the Christian conservatives, he's made some compromises about, what he thinks about abortions. And he's like, 4 weeks, and they're like, no, you can't do 4 weeks. No abortion, no abortion, no abortion. You are pro-abortion. Can you believe that the guy who made sure Roe v. Wade was removed from federal law is being called pro-abortion?
Yeah, that's insane.
It's insanity. I don't get it. Anyway, that's the first one. The second one is Big Arch. I don't know if anybody caught this. It's not like big news or anything like that, but McDonald's has come out with a new burger.
Oh, okay. I was hoping this was going to be about Arch Warhammer, like these friends.
It is called the Big Arch, and basically it's a double quarter pounder with a new sauce that they've developed specifically for the sandwich. So it's not something that they've, are using from something else. They've created a whole new sauce specifically for it. The advertisement says, okay, a creamy white sauce with a slightly salty taste.
That is a terrible way to describe it.
Because that's how they released it in Portugal, and it's going to be in Canada in a couple of weeks, and then it's coming to the United States after that. But so that was what they said in Portugal.
Issue? So do you think it's just a translation issue? And when they advertise it,
I'm sure they'll change it. Someone's by now has had to point it out. Look, that's not going to work in the States, dude. You can't do that.
No.
So, but in Portugal,
unless you rebrand it to Cumburger, then maybe.
Anyway, so that's a thing. And then finally, foreigners, and this is actually Australian news.
Yes,
know,
we're all hot-blooded.
international
Check it and see. We've all got speed with 103.
an international cast doing international news. How did that happen?
Yeah.
Australia is planning next month to limit the number of foreign students applying to the colleges. They have like a top 8 colleges, and they're going to cut all foreign students by 1/3 starting in 2 months for people who are applying for the next semester.
I mean, I'm all for it. The fewer foreigners in the country, the better.
The plus and minuses to this is the plus is that the schools are kind of overrun. They're full basically. So they're having a hard time dealing with the immigration, even if it's temporary.
The downside is the money.
Well, yeah, the downside is the money because foreign students are paying 300% more for a degree from Australia than the local students are.
I can fact check truth. That is indeed the case.
So there's some back and forth, and I don't know the legal structure as well as I should for Australia, but there's a lot of people who are angry on both sides. So another one of those contentious topics, at least in Australia. Now, of all things to be contentious about, that seems really light to me in the United States.
I'm going to be as cold as ice. I'm going to be willing to sacrifice. And I'm going to say, get them the hell out of the country.
And this is all foreigners. This means that I can't go to Australia for a degree. All foreigners.
But realistically, it's the Asians that are the international students. Like realistically, there may be a handful from like America, but realistically, they're all Asians. There's like Chinese.
It would still impact us, though.
Yeah.
But like, it will impact them more. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so by far, the biggest impact is going to be on Asian students. Because we're next door to Asia. It makes sense that they're the ones that are coming to Australia. It's like a lot harder for you to get to Australia than it is for someone in Malaysia.
Am I literally going to fly 24 hours just to go to a school in Australia? I mean,
probably not.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Hell, I don't like to go to my local college. It's too far away.
There you go.
That's only about 25 minutes.
Someone who lives in Indonesia, that's a much shorter flight.
Yeah. I actually have been considering going back to school. I do have a philosophy degree that I have only a couple of credits to get my associates on my philosophy degree.
Okay.
That would give me 3. I've been considering that. Getting kind of old, but I might do it. It'd be interesting to be walking on campus and everyone around me is like 19.
That would be weird.
This decrepit 61-year-old guy shuffling along.
And,
get off the lawn.
Spudgun in chat says that he like they, as in England, has that issue. There's not a lot of Africans coming over, and then we allow them to bring their families. Yep, that's why I'm saying kick them out, get rid of them all.
Yeah, well, you're not fooling me any. That's our southern border every day. So
yeah.
We have the most, not to brag, but we're number 1 yet again. We're the country that has the most problems with immigration. I mean, you guys have it. You can see what Hamas and Palestinians are doing in London and stuff like that. And you definitely do have issues there. But
Australia has one big advantage in that we're so remote. It's a lot harder to cross the Australian border than the southern US border. Like you need to be on a boat. You can't just casually sneak past.
Yeah. And Canada enjoys a certain amount of isolation too, because if anybody's going to settle in Canada, they have to come through the US first. Well,
plus it's so cold that no one wants to go
unless
there.
they fly. Yeah.
Well, yeah, there is that going on too. Because have you heard about the whole thing with the number of people coming to America has dropped across the southern border? That's because Biden is flying people in now.
Oh, Christ.
Sometimes he even flies them up here and then ships them across the border that way.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna happen much longer. People are fed up with it.
Well,
so those are the 3 topics for tonight. We could talk about those 3, but it's up to you.
Well, it's all the same. It's all the same.
I still think we have a lot to say about AI, but
yeah,
I think that people are a lot more concerned about it than they should be. I think it's a kind of.
I don't think it's a threat at all.
I think the concerns are going to be there until they're actually addressed, and that's kind of a lot of why people are concerned at the moment, because there are actually worse things to be concerned about that aren't being addressed. You know,
I will say, look, will people lose their jobs to AI? Sure.
Yes. Some of them deserve it too.
People lost jobs to cars because there were no more positions for carriage drivers. Jobs will be lost, jobs will be created. It's fine.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to have the impact everyone thinks it's going to have.
I agree.
I think the only thing that's going to happen is some toes are going to be stepped on, which is something that's always, that you just said too. It always does happen. There is some concern for some people, so I would just say protect yourself. Like, if you're really that worried about it, don't make sure you actually read what programs you're using online. Like, if they're saying to you in the fine print, like, read all of it, that they can source from your shit, don't use them. Until they figure out a way to do it that's fair, at least in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I think it will work itself out. It is another tool.
Yeah. No, I'm not worried in the slightest. So, as Jen did point out, I'm not in the art world, so maybe I'm able to take a more detached look at the situation. Because, like, if a bunch of shitty artists lose out, then fine. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. If a bunch of shitty art is replaced with a bunch of shitty AI art, that's kind of just the same thing to me. I don't really feel any impact.
I just don't understand why so many people are so upset about it. I think Elon's kind of ramping up people's apprehension about it. There's no reason.
They're scared of the unknown. They're scared of the unknown.
Well, I mean, at this point, there's no reason to throw your shoes into the machine. It's really not going to be that big a deal. That's actually a Star Trek thing. Tyr knows what I'm talking about. You guys have no clue, right?
Nope, not a thing. not a clue.
There's a part in one of the Star Trek movies where the first officer points out that they don't want to take the ship back to Starfleet. That would be a mistake. But she doesn't want to come out and say that. So she says, in the early, I don't know the exact quote. I'm just going to wing this, but the first officer says, in the early 1600s, Danish people, concerned about the movement of technology, flung their shoes called sabot into the machinery, hence the term sabotage. And the 3 of them look at each other. She's talking to Chekhov, or she's talking to Uhura and Scotty, and they look at her and they're like, "Oh, I got this." And Scotty says something like, "I think there's something wrong with the engines," like that. And Uhura turns to him and says, "Well, can you fix it?" And he says, "It could take weeks." And it kind of breaks up.
If you want people seeing things without saying things, Yes Minister is like the perfect show.
Yeah.
I fucking love that show.
I don't see a reason for anybody to get so upset about what's, I don't think UBI is going to be something that has to be implemented because people are out of jobs and they don't have any way to support themselves because AI is taking over everything. There are machines that are building cars today, technically a form of AI, yet people who lost their jobs are now maintaining the robots that build the cars. They still have a job.
Yeah. There is maybe one other thing that I would recommend, and this is more geared towards people with children, and this has been true for long before AI. They really do need to sit down with their kids and teach them the difference between real stuff and fake stuff. Like, it's fine to have the odd catch out and stuff, but it's actually kind of scary how many people are actually programmed now to really believe some of the fakest shit.
Well, yeah, over on Rumble, Green Badger says AI is all fun and games until until Terminators are out walking the streets. And I think that's what people. But no, I think that's what people are scared of because they don't understand that AI is not sentient. Like they think they're going to have Skynet taking over the world. It's not.
Yeah.
No, like I'm not worried about that. I'm more worried about like kids and young adults who really believe the shit that they see on TV or on TikTok as being like real life. And that's something that's been bad across the board for more genres than just AI.
Yeah.
You know, it's actually scary how many people live in another world than the rest of us. And you're like, really? Animu? Really? Okay. I mean, some of Animu is okay, but
people do not like reality and go to great lengths to avoid it. I've noticed.
Yeah.
I think we'll have to worry about Borgifying ourselves first before we have to worry about AI.
Yeah.
He sees Terminators. I see RoboCop
Yeah.
in the future. Dead or alive, you're coming with me. You know, yes, that's what I see coming. So, because we're already doing it. Neuralink is a thing.
Yeah, I don't know why anyone would voluntarily put a chip in their brain.
Because if they don't, they can't control themselves. These people are spasming and can't feed themselves, and they're under constant care.
Oh,
they get this chip in their head,
that's different.
And everything calms down. They can pick up a glass and drink water. And
yeah, but like, okay, I'll rephrase. I don't know why a healthy person would want a chip in their brain.
And no healthy person's doing it yet.
Yeah, but I don't know why any healthy person would want one.
Why would any healthy person inject cocaine into their arms?
I agree. I don't know, but there's idiots who do it.
Yes, there are. So, but yeah, I think we're gonna go RoboCop long before we have to worry about AI. And for those people who don't know, I mentioned UBI earlier, and Keyword Ann mentioned it in chat. For those who may not know, UBI is Universal Basic Income, where they pay you for not doing anything, so that you can survive. Basically, Social Security.
I was hoping UBI would be like a urinary bacterial infection. Because you know, there's like urinary tract infections or UTIs, and and I think when I see UBI, that's what it makes me think of. There's like some sort of infection.
Let's change the subject. I have to get the poll out for our music for tonight.
You do?
I do. I am late. I am 9 minutes and 37 seconds late.
Green Badger over on Rumble says it was kind of a joke. It's like, I know you were joking. I'm saying there are people who are legitimately scared that that's what AI will lead to, and they are misguided in their fears.
I'm not really worried about that side of it. I really am more worried about and it's because I can tell from our examples of the college kids where you get the images of the really, really dum-dums, that they really could have taken like an image of Biden, right? CGI'd it up, had somebody else directing what he says, and they would happily buy it, even though it's visually something that we could see is like fake or looks fake. They would buy it, and that's actually the stuff I'm a little bit more worried about, because humans are happy to fool themselves. Yes, they're
Not to put too fine a point on it, but yeah, retarded is the word you were looking for.
Tonight's band is Def Leppard. And the poll is out there, so go ahead and cast your vote for your favorite song. This is I think this is a really good mix of songs. I don't expect any obvious winner. We are prone to ties anyway, but I think tonight's going to be particularly difficult, so we'll see what happens.
I think, like we were saying, a lot of Def Leppard songs sound quite similar. So I think that's going to further increase the likelihood of the votes being spread out.
Well, we have a three-way tie first. So
there you go.
That's good. That's good. That's what I want to see. I want to see a tie as much as possible. I hate having someone pick, 56% to one guy and everyone else gets zeros. It's like
I mean, I don't actually care. Like whatever song wins. I'm not terribly concerned. I just think don't put an obvious winner in. Like if you'd pour some sugar on me, then it would have been pointless even running the poll. So like I do think don't put out obviously lopsided polls, but if you put out what seems to be a fair poll and it ends up being lopsided, well, that's fine.
No, it's not my fault.
Yeah.
And Spud says, it's not my fault.
Spud says, what do you do when there's a tie? Hammer doesn't vote until the end, and therefore he can break the tie.
That's what we have been doing.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's really we also did, what didn't we do once where we had a two-way tie and we just ran another poll with the two?
Yeah, I mean, we could do that if you want.
It took extra time, but that's another way of doing it. We'll give it a couple minutes to run.
Yeah.
Also, what are we going to do for E?
Well,
Elvis. Kidding.
I'm guessing we did ELO last time, right?
Probably, knowing me.
I mean, I'm assuming you're the one with the list, so you can check.
I'll check.
Could you even get away with Elvis?
Of course you could.
Elvis.
I mean, you could.
Not saying anyone wants to. I just I think it'd be fun.
No, I'm just saying, like, it would be the same as always. He'd risk a copyright claim, but I don't think the stream would ever be like taken down or anything. Like, especially if he's got a instrumental version and he's taken Elvis's lyrics out, like Elvis's vocals out.
Yeah.
I don't think there'd be any major problems besides maybe a copyright claim.
Show number 2289 ELO was the band.
You could go Epica. How about Epica? They are an excellent. They're a symphonic metal band. They would not be appropriate.
Okay. Some night we're gonna have to pick a band that's just completely inappropriate and do it anyway.
I mean, I'm a big Epica fan, so you can go with them if you want. But no, Elvis Presley, Elton John, those are the two that bring to mind for E.
I'm a fan of Elton, that's for sure.
The Eagles is another one you could do.
Yeah. Eurythmics.
Oh, there you go. Eric Clapton, Evanescence.
Oh, Eric Clapton. Yep. Who else?
E is a bit more difficult than some of the other ones because there's not that many.
Got a lot of I got a lot of Eric Clapton already on my computer.
How about Eagle Eye Cherry and every song on the poll is saved tonight?
I like Elton.
Yeah, I mean
that would be my leaning because the music is appropriate for the stream.
Eddie Murphy. I mean, he had one song.
My girl wants to party all the time. Party.
That's the one.
It's the only song he ever did.
Yeah, that is
not a bad song, but still. I would go back and forth between Elton John and the Eurythmics would be my two guesses.
Oh yeah, Eurythmics is a good one.
Yeah, because they have a lot of really good songs to pick
from.
Elvis
Costello is another Elvis you could.
There you go.
With.
I don't think I have any, but I do know a lot of his music. I just don't happen to have any. There are other, I mean, like I said, you could go with Erasure. That's a popular band.
And where was it? Enya was suggested by Tia, I believe.
Yeah.
Green Badger over on Rumble says Entombed. I'm guessing that's not going to be a good option.
I've got a band you probably never heard of that I like, but it was completely inappropriate. A Conaline Crush.
Never heard of them.
Never heard of them.
And Jack says Earth, Wind, and Fire is another good option.
Oh my God, Earth, Wind, and Fire. That didn't even cross my mind.
No, mine either.
Wow. Who came up with Earth, Wind, and Fire?
Jack.
Jack? Yeah. Jack has a much more varied, older sense of music than I do. He likes music from
yeah.
that period of time and stuff. Where I can't even remember those artists. Well, we have a leader.
Yeah. And Jack says, when will we vote on the Donkey Kong rap? That's what I want to know.
We will.
Grant, so just for the record, Grant Kirkhope is the name of the composer of the Donkey Kong rap. So that would have to be our G choice. So lock it in. Lock it in. Grant Kirkhope for G.
If we're gonna do that, then the first song that's gonna be played is Pac-Man Fever.
Yeah.
That'll be the first one. Go from there. Yes, there is a song called Pac-Man Fever. Buckner and Garcia.
And Keith, no, you're not being censored. I just hadn't heard of Eve the Rapper, so I didn't read it out.
Is chat censoring me again?
It's not. But like she suggested Eve the Rapper, and I've never heard of it, so I didn't read it out. That's all.
Yeah, I didn't know who that is either.
Yeah, and Green Badger says evisceration. Again, probably a bad idea.
Yeah. Well, it looks like we have a leader, and we have 14 votes, so we're not going to get a whole more. If anybody else wants to jump in, now's your last chance. I'm going to give it another minute.
I think that there's enough of a lead. I don't think. Unless a whole bunch of people, unless a lot of extra people start voting, but
we don't have that many people out there. We only have
15, yeah. I think everyone who's watching has already voted.
All right. You convinced me. I'll end the poll. Okay. I don't even have to vote. That's the best part.
Hey, David M says, "Who's that girl?" That would be Jen. She's on here every week. You should know that by now.
Well, when they talk about their thing, I let them go. You know, that's how it is. Just like, you know.
Boys will be boys.
Right?
Yes.
Looks like tonight's song is Animal, which is fine with me.
Go.
I personally would have picked Hysteria, but Animal's good too.
I went with Animal, but like I said, it could have been any of them. They're all quite similar once they get started. Like, you are right, they have different intros, but
their intros are really, that's the variation in the songs, is how these songs all start. They all are distinctively different, have a distinctly different tune. When it gets into the middle of the song, they're not that disparate. Suddenly they sound kind of like each other. Yeah,
that's what I was saying. AC/DC is very much the same. Like, you can tell by the intro is like, oh, this is Back in Black. Oh yeah.
The thing that separates Hysteria from the other three is that it's kind of a slow song. The other three are not. Hysteria is all boom, 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 very slow, very plodding. So, all right. So I probably should have to cue that up for later on.
And PVDM says, "Let me blow your mind." Is like, maybe after the stream. I'm busy at the moment. I'm assuming that's a song by Eve the Rapper, but like I said, I've never heard of her or any of her songs.
That song title gets my hopes up. You gotta be careful. It's a title like that.
Yeah.
So let me go into my pictures folder where my music is.
Naturally.
And get the song. Oh, by the way, for those who are in the know about editing movies and that kind of thing, a new version of I can't remember the name. What's the name? Of DaVinci Resolve came out today. That solves a whole boatload of problems. So anybody who's using the program, upgrade. It's a big difference. Not visually, it doesn't look any different, but it fixes the problem I had. I had an audio issue with it, but it fixes like a bunch of other problems. Their fix-it list is like 2 pages long. So
apparently it's a song featuring Gwen Stefani, says Kivadan.
Oh, really?
There you go.
Why can't I find my music? Pictures. Oh, there we go. Music. Leopard. Animal. Right click. Copy. All right. That'll be for the end of the night tonight. Paste. So topics.
Yee.
I think we covered the important ones.
Is there
Well,
anything you wanna
whatever
pick?
Australia is doing, we're doing too.
Yeah.
Purity.
No, I think
Are you doing it? Are you also limiting the number of students to your colleges?
Not just colleges. It's also the outsourcing of foreigners for minimum wage jobs. They're cutting that stuff too. So I don't know if
Really?
Australia is going that far with it, but yeah, we've had protesters for the college, and they're starting up because of the work visa stuff. But yeah, we found out that it was like 70% was outsourcing for employment, and we all kind of were like, yeah, fuck Tim Hortons, fuck pretty much all of them. There's a list growing of places we're supposed to boycott. No offense, but we need a job first. You get us all employed, and then you can outsource. After that, you know.
No, I stand by my stance of kick them all out. I'm happy that anything that reduces the number of immigrants to Australia, I'm in favor of.
The only thing that really piques my ear in Canada is what's going to happen with Justin and Pierre. I don't know when that's going to happen. I've asked a couple of times, but either I'm forgetting or I'm not understanding. But at some point, Justin's going to get thrown out and Pierre's going to take over. And that's what I'm interested to see what happens. I'm very keen to see what happens when that process happens. I don't know when it is, but whenever it happens, I'm going to be very, very interested in it. Oh, yeah.
The sooner the better. Get rid of that Trudeau prick.
But I've been like, has it happened yet? No? Okay. Next day. Has it happened yet? No? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested
Are
in
we
seeing
there
that.
yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
I'm probably more interested in that than I am in my own presidential. And that's odd for an American to say, because the presidential thing is just going to happen or it's not going to happen. And I know when it's going to happen, and there's no reason for me to be thinking about it because it's got a date. You know? But what happens in Canada is, or my favorite term, Canada, is that it doesn't have a date. As far as I know, it doesn't have a date. So who knows when something's going to happen up there. I have to depend on Jen to get me all my information.
Yee.
And Tier in chat says that he is a huge isolationist. I'm like, cool.
Pierre is an isolationist?
No,
Yes.
TYO, Tier Alexander.
But Pierre is too, to a certain degree. Like, yes, obviously there's well, we're not pumping out babies. There's going to be some need for some assistance when it comes to foreign work. We don't need what they're peddling, and we haven't for a long time. Like, what they've been doing for the longest while is criminal. So no, Pierre is about, he's going to be reducing that significantly.
You got to find a way to get people to have babies again. You know,
well, I think
you have 3 babies, no more income tax.
That's kind of one of the things that. Oh, sorry.
No. I think it goes in cycles. Like the birth rate will decline, and then as the birth rate declines, the quality of life will decline, and then people will start having more babies again, and then the quality of life will improve, and then once it's improved, people will stop having babies again, and it just keeps going round and round in circles.
You think it's cyclical like that? Yeah,
I think it is.
I also think things like what GD was saying, and I do think Pierre was on a similar track. Actually, putting some more money into families is part of what will help too, because a lot of people are struggling to have families in the first place. Like, nobody's planning out kids unless they're already set in that regard, you know, or you're pregnant and you're like, shit, well, I guess we're dealing with it now.
Is Canada like America, where the people who have the most money are the people who are not having kids?
It's like that everywhere. Like, that's the tendency in humanity. Like, across time, across country, like, historically, the more wealthy a nation, the lower the birth rate.
Why is
It's
that, Jen?
I can tell you why. It's because when you're poor, you need to have kids to look after you when you get old. And then when you're rich, you don't need that. You've got the money, so that stops being a motivating factor in the decision. It's like if you're broke, you think, well, we've got to have kids, otherwise who's going to look after me when I'm old and sick? If you're a millionaire, you're like, well, I've got money. I don't need kids to
I
take
can
care
hire
of me when I'm
people
old.
to do it, right?
Yeah, you can just hire a nurse. It's fine.
Heberdam says paid parental leave would be nice. What do you think, Jen? Would that make a difference?
I think if it was not abused, yes. And I don't know how they would implement that. Like that's going to be something they'd really have to discuss with parents. But I do think it would be better if at least one of the parents could stay home with the kids for at least the first couple of years before you send them out into public school, because you are now putting them in the hands of somebody else. I'm more in favor of the homeschooling, or at least the block parties that do it. Because I really don't like how much we don't. I get we live in a society that has a lack of time, but the lack of time that we put into our kids is part of the problem.
And Jack Gunsky in chat has an excellent point. He says you need to have a sense of meaning to want children. You have no religion and no culture, and that is also true. Religion is far more prevalent in poorer people, in like poorer populations, and as you get more wealthy, you lose interest in religion, and that is a big factor as to why the birth rate drops as well.
Yeah, I think promoting families wouldn't be a bad way to go about it.
Yeah.
And it does work. Like, yeah, I'm going to point fingers at the pro-choice people because they really heavily emphasize the abortions more than any other method. It's noticeable. Have an abortion. Oh, don't even think of, or consider, adoption or anything. No, that's not an option. Stuff like that, I think, would change if women had another option, or if they knew they had a better chance with a child. Because I do think a lot of women are actually being brainwashed with the idea that they need to have a career to be happy. And no.
Yeah, it's feminism.
Like I was watching this little thread on Twitter just a few moments ago where this lady was upset that all of her friends had gone off and had kids and were no longer interested in the same things anymore. And like, you don't even remember how to woman anymore when you become a parent. I'm like, no, actually, they just have different interests now. Their character evolved past themselves.
So does America actually not have maternity leave? Like you don't actually get your
I heard
job
it was kind of crappy to be depending on
maternity
state.
leave is in the hands of the employer.
So it's not mandatory.
No, not that I'm aware of. It's hard for me to say because I would never take it.
Obviously, but like I know that in Australia you have to be given maternity leave if you have a full-time job.
Most businesses will give you some time, but
up here we'll actually do it to both. So mom might get, it depends on who picks first, but mom might get the first 6 months, and then dad gets the other 6 months. So baby gets time to spend with both.
If you offer maternity leave, you kind of have to offer paternity leave too. But by and large, maternity leave is going to be taken far more frequently than paternity leave. Just the nature of the genders, women are going to be far more needed to take care of the baby in its early stages, and also the guy is going to need to be working. He can't afford to take time off. I think realistically, maternity leave is far more common than paternity.
It is. I don't doubt that was a Canadian thing.
Renam says we need 2 incomes to get by these days. And the reason we need 2 incomes is because we are able to provide 2 incomes. If women were not allowed to work, then women.
I was going to say the same thing. Yeah. And maternity leave is unpaid, says Tia. Okay. So you can take the leave, you just don't get paid for it. Fair enough.
But maternity leave changes with I worked for a Fortune 50 company, pretty big company, as where I retired from, and they gave you 2 months maternity leave.
Okay. Tia says paternity leave is 6 weeks and maternity is 6 months. I mean, that's fair. I mean, I think there's a far greater need for women to take time off after having a baby than for a man.
There was no paternity leave when I was working. That's too far back.
Yeah, I mean,
15 years ago was the last time. Well, not quite, but
yeah,
almost
but
15 years ago.
When I was working, like if I had a kid, I think legally I could apply for paternity leave because they have to offer it if they also offer because they also offer maternity leave. But I mean, I think the number of people who take paternity leave is rather low.
It really depends on the person. Like some guys I know who've done it really did it because they wanted to have a chance to spend with their kid, you know,
Sure.
because it's true that once you start really working, you're not always going to have those opportunities to spend with, especially when they're that little.
Yeah.
It's really about capturing those minutes, but they do kind of take a loss. Like just because you got paternity leave doesn't mean that you're making the same bucks that you would make if you were working yourself. So I think they do it knowing they're taking a ding, but I don't have a problem with that because I understand the reasoning. Like,
and KVDM says stagnation of wages is her fault. It's not your fault. It's the feminists who pushed for women to enter the workplace.
Yep.
It's their fault. Like you're a victim in this, not a perpetrator.
Yeah, I don't know how we get from where we are to where we need to be at this point, because women have been brainwashed to see their career and all that kind of stuff first.
Oh no, it's very simple. Society will collapse to the point that I mean, it's brutal, but it's true. It'll collapse to the point that they can't afford to have these luxury beliefs, and they will start to become more traditional as a means of basic survival. And then once that's happened, society will build itself back up again. It's like these things come in cycles. It's the nature of humanity.
it's also the lies that the feminists tell in the first place. Women have always been able to be employed. It's just we weren't able to be employed in positions that might have held power. And that's where they're being dishonest. And I can understand that to a certain degree because like a woman in power, well, she was born into that. That's pure damn luck, you know? Like Queen Elizabeth, pure damn luck. That's just how that was.
Yeah, I think
if you have to insist to be in power in the first place, you should never have been in the first place. That's kind of one of those old-fashioned things that I do think, because I think people who are desperate for power will do everything for power, and then once they're in power, they'll do everything to stay in power.
And
let me ask you a question, Jen. Go ahead, Terry.
No. I was just going to read KVDM's chat saying that, but then we'd be gold diggers. Like,
yeah, that's the reason why I want to ask Jen a couple of questions. I've been in a position where I worked for a period of time and now I've retired.
Mm-hmm.
And if I had my option for anything, I'd rather not work.
Right.
And my question to you would be, if you were given the option to stay home and have your man take care of you or go to work, what would you pick? I know it's a tough question. That's why I asked it.
Well, the reason I take a breath is because I don't think I am every woman. You know, there are some women who.
That's okay.
Okay, the odd woman does make a good doctor. Do I think every woman makes a good doctor? No. But the ones who really do, I don't want to lose them the chance to be a good doctor because the world needs good doctors. But I don't believe in forcing that. And I disagree with the feminists entirely when they say that women in the past didn't have any role in their household, because it's actually disrespectful to the women of the past. 100% of the time. You know, it is based off of where you were in life. It was. And what you were in charge of varies. You know, poor women might have been in charge of the whole block of kids, not just their own.
Right.
And they might still have been working and making money Believe it or not, doing laundry for other people, get you money. Cooking for other people, get you money. Watching other people's kids, get you money. If you're rich and you have a rich husband, you're in charge of the household.
Right. But
Like,
but you've replied, but you haven't answered.
Exactly.
It's because I do if I'm answering for myself. Would I rather stay home? Yeah, I think I'm a better person. If I think I'm a better person to run a household than I am going out into the work field. I'm just saying it.
It's what you want to. This is just a preference. I'm not saying that you must now follow the dictates that you have established. I'm not doing that. I'm saying if you're given your druthers in a hypothetical world, you know, what would you do? I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't work. There's no reason. Why would I do that? Get up 6 o'clock in the morning, take a shower, drive in hours of traffic, listen to some asshole give me work to do that I don't want to do, then have to fucking get out. That's all a huge hassle. I don't want to do any of it. I'm glad. I'm so glad that I'm retired.
What if that's just it? You haven't picked the career that actually you love, right?
I'm definitely in the career I love. That's for sure.
But like, this is what I'm saying with women. Like, say, okay, careers in the past would have been okay for a woman. She's lived her whole life making wool. She makes wool clothing. She handles pee to clean out the grease, you know, to get all the folds out. And, you know, she's part of the process. I think she has every right to be part of the process. I believe she has every right to get paid for her work. Do I think every woman wants to do that? Fuck no. But I think that woman might actually live to see it become nice wool. Like, when you see your project go from looking like shit to what it's supposed to be at the end, a lot of people like going to work for that reason. I wouldn't deny a woman that right, but I don't think pushing that on every woman is the same thing. And that's why I don't like feminists. But if you were asking about myself, I'd rather be at home because I think I would do more at home. I think I would be better for a family at home.
But I'm living proof of my decision. Like, the instant I got enough money to stop working, I did.
Yeah.
And I don't deny that. You know, I think that's true for a lot of people too. Like, if it was something that made you really happy to get up and you wanted to go do it every day, you would still be doing it. You know?
Yeah.
I still do computer work. I still do things that are along the job I used to do, but I don't have to wear a suit and tie. I don't have to deal with traffic. I don't have to do any of the bad things that went along with it. I can just do things I like. And at my age, it's important for me to take it easy a little bit because I'm not as strong as I was when I was a young guy, you know? So even if I wanted to get back to work, I don't even think I could even do it now, but I think if you ask 100 people, you're going to have income whether you work or not. What would you do? I would guarantee almost everybody there would say I would stay home and do this thing that I like to do, as opposed to going that place and do things I don't like to do. You know,
it's okay. So for work examples that I do have, times where I enjoyed the job and times that I didn't. Most of the job experience I have is customer service. But when I got to handle food and food products, I enjoyed that a lot because it was working with my hands and you're learning how to cook. The reason I wouldn't have gotten into the chef world is because it's a little bit different in that it's more competitive. It's way more competitive. I like learning because I like the idea of feeding people good food. Like, and that stems from home. You know, that's the feeling of, well, if I can provide the people that I love with really good food, then I'm contributing to my home. You know, and that extends to your family. Like, you know, when you have, I think of the 50s a lot of the times, you know, when they would have those backyard family dinners or luncheons and things. And I know we carried that on for a long time afterwards, the barbecue scene. But like, that was something of a big feature for those women back in the 50s. You know, they spent probably a good portion of a month, if not more, planning out what they were going to do, you know, figuring out when they were going to get their ingredients, when to set it up. And they were doing that all by themselves. You know, they didn't have caterers come in and do everything for them. Unless you were fucking rich, you were doing it yourself. And that's a ginormous amount of work, you know, and that's absolutely contributing to your family.
Yeah.
I can understand wanting to get paid for it, but the thing that lost me also was the customer service itself. Like it took the joy out of it. So being at home and cooking for my family where I get appreciated for it, way better than doing it for customers who don't give a shit.
Yeah. We always seem to get into a good conversation at the end of the night.
Naturally.
Love to continue this. It's
way after. Holy shit.
Quarter after.
Terry, I'm so sorry, Terry.
No, that's fine. I was contributing to the conversation until towards the end. But yeah, I am getting hungry, so we probably should.
Yeah, I am also. I'm going to get something from McDonald's. It's the beginning of the month.
Are you going to get a cum burger like we were talking?
Oh, now I'm not hungry anymore. No, I'm going to get my double fish fillet. That's what I always get.
Nice.
Hands up for fish fillet. Yeah. All right. Let's get out of here. Thanks, fam, as always, for chatting with us tonight. You can't wait for the next Wednesday show. Remember, the menus are live every evening, including weekends, with most shows starting around 11:30 p.m. Eastern, 7 days a week. I should really change it to 6 days a week because of Tuesday, but listen, start times are, been that way for a while. Listen, start times are linked in the description down below, as always. Don't forget about the Rumble pre-show. We had a lot of fun today talking about topics during the pre-show that try not to miss that because it's a fun time. That stream generally starts broadcasting a half an hour before YouTube around 8:30. We will be back again next week at 9 p.m. as usual. Hope you guys enjoyed the show, and we'll see you again next week. Have a great night, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.